Breaking news, the Meta company has just reduced the number of job interviews for product designers to just one. You heard this right, no design challenges, no take-home assignments, no culture fit interviews when you are talking with your hiring managers with some semi-work related fluff, nothing like that. 45 minutes and you are done. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the new Meta hiring process and we are going to discuss its pros and cons and how it's best for you to prepare. I'm Ines, a principal product designer with 16 years of experience, and on this channel I share what I've learned about UX, business and building a career that lasts. If you're also into these topics, subscribe and let's go. So here is the Meta hiring guide and the link will be down below, of course, and you can see here that they are jumping through the sections that we are well aware of. They are explaining here what your hiring process will look like, and you can see here that they have only one interview here, past work initial screen. And this is going to be a 45-minute interview consisting of a 30-minute presentation and 50 minutes at the end for your interviewer to ask questions. And this is it. Then let's jump through the obvious recommendations. You can read them, of course. They are about preparing to the video conference, which I think everybody knows how to do right now. They also include here a note about the dress code, which is also pretty relevant. But then we can see more details about how this interview is structured. So they repeat the structure itself, and they are explaining here what are they looking for. And I actually find it is pretty helpful. So they note 5 areas where you should be providing some information. You should show interactive and experienced user design. Obviously, you should show what products have you create and that your products are easy to use. They are going to evaluate your visual design and craft. I'm repeating that over and over again, that visual design is important. You just cannot succeed in the modern UX design market just by focusing only on the UX part or only on the UI part. We are called UX UI designers because both parts are important. And big tech companies, they only hire people who demonstrate sufficient performance in both areas. So here they note it as well, so you shall not be surprised. They are also going to assess that you are growing continuously, that you are seeking opportunities to grow and learn. And I'm going to do an assumption here because we are talking about the past work interview, that they are not looking in how you are advancing in your career. Maybe this could be helpful information as for the background, that you were promoted and so on, but I believe that they are here specifically looking to find some evidence that you look for opportunities to do your work better, that you suggest your ideas, that you talk with people, that you are seeking opportunities to learn from others and to grow in your skills just right there on the project, that you're trying something new. Then they are going to assess the problem identification, your ability to find and solve problems and build effective products. Of course, in some cases, a problem is given to you, but even in those cases, you need to prove that this problem is worth solving, if there are no attached problems to that, or if this problem is not actually hiding a bigger problem behind it. So this is a pretty relevant skill for product designers. And then they are also going to assess if you are driving results, if you are working autonomously and taking ownership and responsibility. This is, I think, also pretty obvious, especially considering that this is a big tech company and they prefer to hire senior professionals. But even if you're a junior, you should also work autonomously in the areas where you're comfortable on. So you should work autonomously in Figma, you should work autonomously on your interactive design, workflows, and so on and so on. Then they also specify that they want to see at least 2 product design case studies. This is nothing new. This is more or less an industry standard, and considering that you are only going to have 30 minutes to show your work, this is pretty reasonable. Then they give you some good criteria what successful presentation often include. And this is not only the criteria for the presentation, but also the criteria for the project that you should select. So you see here the project, this should be shipped. This project should be complex in nature. nature, and so on and so on. I think those things are pretty reasonable, although they are hard to achieve when you're just starting out. But again, this is a big tech company. They are naturally looking for developed and seasoned professionals. So for senior designers, for middle career designers, this should not be an obstacle. Then I like the next section because there they explain the common pitfalls. And out of my experience as a hiring manager, I must say that people are often falling to those pitfalls indeed. And they spend too much time on setting context. And this problem is especially acute for me because I'm working in the B2B context. So naturally, we are often hiring designers who had experience in working in B2B. And B2B environment is indeed quite complex. But I'm not requiring you to explain me your whole business and how it works and all the intricacies of the politics, because it oftentimes is not relevant for the designs that you are showing. Yes, maybe in the reality your project had 15 stakeholders and the alignments were really painful, and that's why you had to do a lot of compromises and in order to achieve this state where everybody is happy. But eventually, if I don't see it in your designs that there is an area where you really need this information to explain to me why it is done not in a very optimal way, then I don't really need this information, and people are really spending a lot of time setting the context that I don't need. So be selective about the context, rehearse your presentation multiple times, and really cut down the parts that are not necessarily related to your final results. And another pitfall that they note is that sometimes people are presenting a wall of post-its, complex personas, or flowcharts that would be difficult to read at a glance. And this is also a problem because sometimes in the product design, we're not really working on the beautification of the artifacts. We're working with other team members and we're okay with certain messy artifacts. However, I'm as a hiring manager, I'm not that involved in your day-to-day work. And if your artifact is a very long, Google spreadsheet that I might not be able to read in those 30 seconds that I'm given to do that, this is going to be kind of hard for me to understand what do you mean there. So I think what they want you to do here is that they want you to provide some explanation or simplified version of your artifacts, or somehow maybe screenshotting only the part that is relevant to your story, so not to overwhelm the person who is sitting there with you on an interview. By the way, if you like this video and you want to receive more videos like that, then give me thumbs up and hit the subscribe button down below. It's important for me and for YouTube algorithms to start recommending you similar videos. And we are moving on. And then the other part is, I think, applicable not only to a portfolio deep dive interview, but also to your portfolio in general and to the way how you structure your case studies. Because here they explain what shall you be having there. And if you see here, those bullet points, they are directly related to what we usually include in a case study. It's an overview of the case study, your role on the project, how long it took, who your main working peers, or what business objectives did you have, what solutions, describe the tasting process, mock-ups and prototype, and they are going you a lot of details, even going to the depth of explaining that showing video of complex prototypes is recommended. Don't just include the clickable prototype in Figma, because if it is a complex flow, I might not have any idea on what should I click in order to trigger the correct behavior in your prototype. So I think this section is a very interesting one, even if you are not planning to apply in Meta ever, or even if you are not even looking for an interview or for a job. Because I think there is something that everybody could learn from. There is also one important thing in this guide where they ask you to prepare a narrative style deck. as opposed to scrolling through your portfolio. So naturally you organize your case studies in a way that it is easy to read, and you overall include all those points that they anyway recommend. So the temptation is to just open your portfolio and make a walkthrough. And this is not the correct way on how to prepare to those interviews. And this is also what I'm not recommending doing, because they have seen your portfolio already. They have seen everything that you showed there. They just want more details. They want to go one level deeper, and they want to see more artifacts. They want to know more details. And here, if you will prepare a narrative style deck, it could be the slides, or it can be something that is done in FigJam, which I often prefer. This is going to be easier for you also to follow, and it's going to be probably more engaging for your listener. And you can add there more details. The usual way how I do that is that I prepare a walkthrough or a narrative style deck in my FigJam, but then down below under this deck, I include more details in case they will ever ask me how this whole artifact was structured, what did I have there, who were my stakeholders there. I will have some evidence that I really did this work. So you see, this is the bigger change in the hiring process. And in my opinion, and out of what I observe in my day-to-day work, also as a hiring manager or as an interviewer, this is a representative of an overall trend that we have in the UX design industry. And the trend is the simplification of the hiring process. Some people embrace this trend, and I'm personally really up to it, because as a hiring manager, I would really love to have one interview with the candidate instead of having like 4 interviews. That will save me time. And if this interview is very well prepared, I should in theory see everything that I wanted to see, and I should be able to distill all the answers that I'm looking for. However, if we are going to only have this one chance on showing our value as UX designers, that puts an enormous stress on people's shoulders. Because if this is everything that you have, then every artifact, every line that you are going to say, every slide in your narrative style deck are of the highest importance. And indeed, it's worth time to prepare for such an interview, because it is a big tech company. It gives you a lot of opportunities. Yes, you might not be a fan of Meta specifically, but other tech companies for sure are gonna follow the same trend. And I'm also talking about this trend in my course about job interviews. The link is going to be down below. This is not only what Meta is doing. Other companies, they cut the time that you have for a design challenge, so maybe they're going to cut the design challenge altogether as well. We are going to see how it's all gonna develop, but the fact stays that you shall put a lot more work in preparing to those types of the interviews. And if you want to practice those interview challenges with me, then go and check the link in the video description and learn about the upcoming cohort for the job interviews and design challenges for tech companies. This is the program that I'm launching quite soon. And if you want to know what I recommend preparing for this type of an interview, for the portfolio deep dive, check out this video, and I see you there.